G'day fellas, and welcome back to part 3. Now, the situation at the moment is that we're in a set of cell blocks. We've just busted out from prison. 2 of the prisoners aren't here and the other one was an insane freak, so we're pretty much on our own, and we found a logbook. It's enzymatic Danes. Now, this log just goes on forever, so I'm going to slowly scroll through the entries and just give you the gist of it. Basically, he's a prisoner in the Mondite world. He was on a ship, nothing eventful happened, but they had a power surge, and as a result of the power surge, they went off course and got stranded. Now, just feel free to pause it as I leaf through. When they finally got back into normal space, they had no idea where they were. They sent out a distress signal and basically went on to minimum rations and stuff. And then they were absolutely amazed because their distress signal had been picked up. And the next day they were attacked by 2 small military type dropships. And basically there was a massive bloody carnage as they fought corridor by corridor against the boarding party, and they finally learned who they were: Mondites. Now, Mondites are sort of a insane techno cult basically, and he lists the people who died. Long description of the battle. Basically they all fought very heroically. The leader of the base is a man who is a surgeon. He was very concerned with our presence. The base seems to be a strange mixture of digging equipment, medical facilities and little else. The world we're on is called Daedalus. It's certainly beyond the reach of the reticulum. That's sort of like the big space empire. It's probably never been charted. They're carrying out some kind of secret operation. They don't suspect us of spying because we haven't been questioned. The reticulum is historically been very unresponsive to the taking of hostages, so I'm quite sure we're worthless as bargaining chips, but we obviously don't want us for some reason because they're not generally merciful. He goes on about how it's hard to judge the passage of time. Then they start doing medical experiments on them, and some of these had very unpleasant consequences. But his went a lot better. The poor guy who got hallucinations ends up tearing out his eyes. The leader of the base is a surgeon. His name is Mastaba. I demanded to know where Parks was. His only response was, "In the lake." No, that doesn't sound good. And he's not particularly scared of the reticulum. They would assume that we were lost in the jump. Claims that they're all his property. The medical tests are becoming increasingly torturous. He's dreaming of his family. And he's told the medical tests are coming to the end, and all the other prisoners he would capture with are also dead. And the charming surgeon asked him if he wants to be awake for his surgery. Entry 8. There's a new prisoner in the cell across from me. I can't see him. He's lying unconscious in his bunk. At first I thought it might be Klima or Parks, or maybe another crewman from the Agrippa had managed to survive, but it wasn't. I've never seen this man before. There's something very large being moved into the cell next to mine. Parks must really be gone if they're putting his old cell to use. Whatever this thing is, it's enormously heavy. Supervising this operation is another Mondite scientist. There's dirt in her uniform. I heard someone call her Dr. Escher. Ordering the man for her is the head guard that lurks around this cell block. His name is Kanan. Whatever's going to that cell certainly sounds like a major security problem. I'm just starting to get my strengths back. I saw Kanan walking through the cell block. What's in that cell? I asked him. Just something that will probably kill us all. Nothing for you to worry about. The man in cell 3 is either still unconscious or keeps to himself. He does not respond when I call out to him. Over the last few days I've seen Kanan walking around here looking nervous. I try to catch his attention, perhaps speak with him again, but he's all business. Still, there's something about him. His expression doesn't have the cold acceptance of the other guards. The camera is off, said the voice. I was surprised to see Kanan standing outside my cell. They'll never let you out of here, never alive, you know that. I nodded. I've seen things they're finding, more of them every day. Nightmarish. I mean, I thought what we do here was terrible. Do you want to get out? I was kind of confused and in disbelief. When I cleared my head of the shock, I managed to give the approximation of a nod. They say you're a flight officer. Can you pilot a dropship? I could. There's a dropship on the platform. She was brought in on autopilot for maintenance. The Marines on board are all in cold storage. You need to understand though, we only get one shot at this. When? I said. First we need your new neighbour. He's the chosen one. That's why you're not nothing but an autopsy waiting to happen. They won't think twice about killing us. But maybe they'll want him back bad enough that he sounded less than convinced by his own words. And I'm sure he didn't know what he was talking about. Maybe was all I could manage when he looked at me for a reply. Jailer and prisoner became closer than brothers, comrades in arms, about to go into battle together, maybe for the last time. My personal access code number is 27588. Excuse me. Alright. You need to remember that for later. That's why you have to read this journal, is just to get that little part of it. It changes every time you play the game. You might be able to use it to get out of a bad spot, but let's hope it never comes down to that. Before I even thought about it, I was giving him my last possession, the picture of Lorna. Who's this? The wife, he asked. Not yet, but she will be. You missed that during the search when they brought me here. I could be going home. This absolute miracle was so unlikely and absurd to me I started giggling. Kanan nodded like he understood and solemnly put the picture away without saying a word. He reached in between the bars and put something in my hand. Just as he did, I heard the doors of the cell block open and I quickly put it behind my back. 3 more guards came into the cell block and opened the door to cell 3. The man inside walked out with guns pointed at him. Holding a hand in front of his weakened eyes, the new man slowly walked out of the cell block. The guards followed. As Kanan went, he looked back at me. He flashed me the sign of 5. It wasn't until the doors closed again that I allowed myself to even notice the reassuring, familiar heaviness in my right hand. A blaster. It was fully charged. Entry 13. We failed. I've been recaptured and Kanan's also a prisoner. The man in cell 3 has been the subject of a monstrous experiment. He is no longer human. I don't know what he is now. For some period of time they have simply been beating me into unconsciousness whenever I show signs of awakening. I suppose they've just gotten tired of it now. So, entry 14. The guards come for Kanan. Kanan's been jabbering like a lunatic ever since they brought him back. He keeps screaming some conversation with his mother that must be going on inside his head. I can't see his cell from here. I was awakened by a sound of an explosion in cell block. 2 of the guards went to look in on Kanan. From what I heard, he must have mauled one of them pretty bad. Kanan keeps getting worse. All he does is growl and howl like an animal. The guards have now told me it's my turn to be taken back to the operating room. This journal has reached an end. No matter what occurs, know that I always loved you, Lorna. And if I should somehow get the chance to write again, I will. End. So that's the end of the journal and the very important passcode you need. Am I the person in cell 3 that Dane wrote about in his journal? If I am, then they tried to rescue me. Maybe Dane can help me escape if he's still alive. And if I can find him. Oh, let's pick up our severed arm again. Check the room to make sure there's nothing else in there. And then we'll continue the rest in the next video, because this was basically the talkie video. So until then, fellas, have a good one. Ooh, earthquakes!